Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. We'll get back to the legislative stuff a little later in the program. Matter of fact, there was a AP business economist worry about a possible recession in 2020. Actually, the economy is booming right now around the country, not so much in our state. And well, that would be good for us. We need to get out of this mess. So anyway, let's jump gears. We have, as you know, congressional races this fall. There are also some local races, tax races, judge races. There's one statewide race because Tom Shedler has resigned as Secretary of State. So we will have a Secretary of State's race this year and next year. But the big ballot items this time will be the congressional races all over the country. Got a gentleman here running for the 3rd Congressional District. Mr. Josh Guillory joins us. I think he's a Republican. Josh, good to see you again, man.
I am a Republican. Good to see you too, Moon. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself and answer any questions.
Well, I didn't think I was guessing on the Republican part. Let me ask you a quick question before I get into you, because I want people to know a little bit about you as well.
Yes, sir.
How many people have said they're going to run in this race? Now, remember, qualifying is always different than when people are talking about it. I know the current rep, Congressman Higgins. I know there was a lady, a former judge or whatever from Lake Charles, and of course yourself. Is there any other names? You don't even have to mention them. Are there 4 or 5 names that are in this race?
There's quite a bit. There's 2 additional registered Democrats out of Lake Charles. Okay. I believe there's another registered Democrat out of Morgan City, Iberia area. Okay. I believe we have 2 independents that are running.
Wow, a lot of people.
A lot of people, a lot of interest in this race for good reason.
Well, no doubt about it. Okay. A little background about you. Who are you? What do you do for a living? Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I live out right down the road in the heart of, in the middle of the 3rd Congressional District in Youngsville, Lafayette Parish. I live there with my wife and children. I'm a small business owner, family law attorney, also practice constitutional law. For many years, though, Moon, you see me doing what I love to do, which is coach middle school football. And you know, it rolls off the tongue. Oh, what? It rolls off the tongue easier too. You know, you tell people, "What do you do for a living?" Well, I coach football. So, but also
you need to be involved with them kids, man. Trust me.
It's our future, and very blessed to be an Army veteran. I served in Iraq in 2005 as a cavalry officer.
Congratulations! Thanks for your service. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's the best job I ever had.
Okay, you want to run? You never ran for office before?
No, sir.
Okay. By the way, that's not unusual anymore. Somebody's got to run the first time, and number 2 is running for Congress. Sometimes you see people run for local, then they jump up to Congress, but you don't necessarily have to do that. I mean, the guy that's sitting in Congress right now didn't do it. So you try to do the same thing now. Why now? Why this office? Why, if somebody says, okay, Josh, I like your platform, but why are you running? I want to know, why are you running? Why you want this office?
There is some dramatic urgency for a voice in this district. We once had a voice in this district. We need it back, you know. Look, I have nothing personal against Clay Higgins. I really don't. I thought his YouTube videos when he ran were entertaining, and I think personally he's a good guy. But I disagree with his voting record. I have a fundamental disagreement with his voting record, mainly in the debt. You can't tell. This district is a conservative district. Whether you're registered as a Democrat or Republican, we are conservative.
Well, Republicans are going to win this district. Just write it down. I'll go on a limb saying that right now.
Hands down, but it's what you do that matters, not what you say. So I disagree with Congressman Higgins voting to increase our national debt.
Okay.
You know, I disagree with Congressman.
That's legit.
Absolutely. And you hit on, and look, you hold elected officials accountable as you should, Moon, and I asked you to hold me that same standard.
Well, I didn't agree with him and the other ones that voted for that. I thought it was wrong because you're not changing the direction of the country. I mean, I bicker a lot about the state, but we don't even try to change with the state. But the federal government with Trump coming in, I think we're trying to see somebody that's trying to change it. Is there other votes? A couple other votes that you're concerned about? Because one is good, but I'm sure there's other things.
Absolutely, and but on fiscal matters, it's 3 of them last year in 2017 that raised our national debt, which is approaching $21 trillion. It's inexcusable at this point. But I also disagree with raising our flood insurance premiums. And you know, think back to 2016. Think about, I mean, all of us, whether we were directly affected, whether we had family members that affected, neighbors, we were all out there removing sheetrock and things like that. You know, you don't go out of our district and come into our district and vote to increase our flood insurance premiums. I mean, that's not, I agree with Garrett Graves. That's nothing more than a needless tax. And there was some leadership in our delegation. Garrett Graves, Ralph Abraham, 2 Republicans, voted against it. You know, just because it has an R by it doesn't mean that it's a good, strong conservative bill that we need to support. You know, speak for your district. Don't speak for a party.
Well, I understand the votes. And I always said voting records matter. They do. What's besides that, what's your platform? when I say platform,
Sure.
what are some things that you want to see get accomplished if you become a congressman that you're going to push for, not only on a national scale, but even for Louisiana and in particular for this district?
Well, nationally, we have got to balance our budget. We have got to balance the federal budget. Look, I'm a small business owner. I remember my dad taught me when I was young, son, if you have $1, don't spend $1.05. You know, we need to make common sense a little more common up there in Washington. I have children. We have children. Some of us have grandchildren, nieces, nephews. What country do we want to hand to them? Is it a debt-ridden country where we can't even use our discretionary spending to pay interest? Mm-hmm. This is a national security interest at this point. We have got to handle our debt. We have to get our fiscal house in order. So federally, that is one of my top priorities. Locally, infrastructure. You know, not all spending is bad. I mean, we do have room in that budget for discretionary spending.
I don't think all spending is bad. You heard me say it before. If you ever listen, I'm not anti-tax. I'm not anti-government, but spending it responsibly is a big deal. And infrastructure is the one thing that government can spend money on, but you can't spend it on infrastructure and everything else. And it's the and everything else that's getting us in trouble. So when you say infrastructure, what are you looking at?
Well, we have the I-10 bridge in Calcasieu Parish. That is vitally important. And it's important to Acadia.
I got some friends that tell me they do not go across that bridge. I do. I don't think about it, but they tell me they won't go across that bridge.
Well, they say a few Our Fathers and Hail Marys, and you count the little pistols on the side of it, right? They have those designs. But but also here's one that's local besides the I-49 connector and I-49 South, which is huge in this area and from an economic standpoint. But here's one, just drainage. You know, we have all these different little water kingdoms in our district and across the congressional districts. We need a representative to go to Washington that can serve as a liaison, but also empower local leaders, not just dictate from Washington, D.C. how things are going to be or where spending is going to go. We don't have a voice right now, and we need one.
You know, one of the things that we have a problem with what you just talked about is, you know, we live down here by the coast, and water's going south. I don't care what anybody says, but we've built neighborhoods in places nothing in particular. We can go down to Houma, to Baton Rouge, to come across all the way through the lower part of the state. We do it in North Louisiana. We do it all over the place. We built places where water's going to go south, and I don't know. You may disagree with this, and you can. I don't know if there's going to ever be a system that protects everybody from rain or hurricanes or whatever that dumps so much rain on us that, you know, you just go, wow, we never seen a 20-inch rain. Now we have, you know what I'm saying, or 24 inches, whatever it was in 24 hours. And hurricanes coming in when you build by the coast. I don't get into this global warming crap, please. But what I'm saying is we don't know what's coming. I don't know if there will ever be a drain system. Like in New Orleans, the right storm, there's no way to protect New Orleans. I don't care what anybody says. Go do whatever you want. Come up with the best pumps in the world. There's no guarantee you're going to protect people. So saying that,
sure.
What do you think some basic stuff that needs to be done with that? Because I don't know what to do with that. Because you see, that becomes a problem. Now, I do admit if nobody's talking about it, nobody's trying to do anything about it, it becomes a problem. But we build places, and places maybe we shouldn't build stuff sometime. I'm just saying.
Well, I'll tell you what we don't need. We don't need another economic impact study funded by tax dollars to tell us that water rolls downhill.
But I tell you what, they probably got 19 of them they're working on.
And 19 in progress, too. You know?
20 more to come after that.
Absolutely. We have studies just to talk about the next study on tax dollar dime, you know.
Yeah, somebody's getting rich, I understand. But no, that is what I'm saying. It's a good issue for you.
Absolutely.
I didn't know how to really get that fixed. You know, there's a lot of studies to go look at.
Well, it starts off with having a presence. It really does, because that does fall a lot of times on our local leaders' shoulders. But it starts off from a federal rep having a presence. Right now, we're represented by someone that does not live in our district. More egregious is 2 of his 3 field reps do not live in the areas that they represent. How can we know what the problems of local leaders are if you're not even in the same grocery stores as your constituents to hear the problems? Mm-hmm. That's where it starts off. Second, it goes back to funding. And again, responsibly. I love your approach. Yes, our government's here to serve us. Serve us responsibly. Talk to civil engineers. Talk to local leaders. Talk to police jurors. Work together. Because to what's to St. Landry's benefit, for example, may be to Lafayette and Vermilion's downfall. And we just need to work together and look at this as a watershed.
That's what makes it tough.
Exactly.
Because somebody above the lower levels, you're building different stuff, and that's something I don't know if you can actually fix. But it needs to be looked at. There's no doubt about it. And Anyway, by the way, folks, if you're just joining us, Josh Guillory is his name. He is threw his hat into the 3rd Congressional District this fall. All the congressmen or congresswomen are up and running all over the country. It is going to be a big election this fall. Who goes in the election does matter. No matter what district you're in, it does matter because that's going to determine our future, what's coming up. Let's do this. Take a break. I'll hold you one more segment. We'll visit Q&A a little bit more. If you got a quick question, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Josh Guillory, my special guest, and he is running for the 3rd Congressional District. We'll be right back. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, Mr. Josh Guillory, who has thrown his hat into the 3rd Congressional District. Clay Higgins is a congressman from the 3rd Congressional District. And he's thrown his hat in with a lot of other people. Now, we'll see when it gets to actually qualifying who qualifies. I know you're going to qualify. I can tell you're going to qualify, and I think at least one I'll let you, but we'll see about the rest of them. Some people take this serious. Some people just run to put their name out there. I've never understood that. If you run to win, and I don't care who you are. Run to win. Anyway, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. All right, that's quick issues. Trump wants a border fence. Congress should give him a border fence. But the bottom line is we got to do something about illegals. Not legal, not people that come across illegals. Just your thoughts on that as far as what you think we ought to do.
Well, let's start off with this. There is nothing wrong with knowing who comes into our country. I think, again, that's common sense. And anybody that disagrees with that I'd question their political agenda. The president obviously feels strongly about a border wall. I believe that the intent behind that is safe immigration. I don't think anybody can disagree. I know that the certain political factions want to increase their voting pool, but I think that we need to look at the heart of immigration, which is we are a country of immigrants. We want safe immigration. South Louisiana needs safe immigration. We have migrant workers that, as a congressman, we can never forget about our companies and businesses that employ these legally. And that's what we need.
It is legal in an illegal way, but do you have a problem with a fence if that's what it takes?
I don't have a problem with that. I
don't see anything wrong with a fence and the fact that you're trying to the drug cartel, all that stuff's affecting the border and what comes in here. And I think it helped Trump win the election, to be honest with you.
I think from a strategic standpoint, he was kind of clever. He used his budget that was allocated to, or he's considering using his budget allocated to him through the military. To fund it. Now, I don't know how far he'll go with that.
Well, I think they're still talking about that. I don't know if it's constitutionally you can do it or not, but it does deal with security. So, and once again, the military was beat down so bad by Barack Obama and his Klan, so he probably has money needs that the military has to have. I think that's just a big issue. All right, healthcare. We still on Obamacare. Now, they did get rid of some of the mandates, which is a good thing. But I'm telling you, this Medicaid scheme is what it is all over the country. It's really costing our states money in every area of government now. And the Medicaid scheme is probably the biggest problem of it. And also because you got people that decided not to take the private insurance to go on the freebies and on the subsidized. So just your thoughts on that. Will we ever see that repealed?
I just remember someone saying if we liked the doctor that we had, we could.
And your policies are going to be cut down to $2,500 a year. Mine went up about $2,000 a month.
Look, I have a private plan. I'm a small business. Ours
understand?
Absolutely. The first year was in existence. It multiplied by 4. You know,
yeah.
I mean, we have 3 children, and I have a wife, and myself.
I did the same thing. Me, my wife, and 2 of our kiddies, and I mean, it's still tough. $2,000 a month. I don't care what anybody's saying. I'm a really small business.
And Moon, it hadn't gone down.
No, it's not going to go down. That's the problem.
But I think in healthcare in general, though, we're asking the wrong question. I think, and this is just from a macro standpoint. Right now, we're asking, who's going to pay for it? Is it going to be the rich? Is it going to be the poor? Is it going to be the government? Is it going to be the private sector? Instead, we need to ask, why does it cost so much? You know, that same molecule that's prescribed in America is the same molecule in Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. And we're either subsidizing the world's pill population, or there may be some things that we need to look into back home, domestically.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that because the Republicans ran so hard on it, and we've drifted away now. We're in Trump's second year. Nobody's talking about it at all. And it bothers me because it's sending us into a wrong place. Nobody's really running on that. Nobody's changing. Nobody has a bill to do it. Nobody can get the votes to get it changed. I don't understand that.
That's a good point, because the last time it was an election year, that's all we heard was repeal and replace.
We heard that when Trump won and we elected all the new people, and Congress, all we heard was Obamacare repeal. I know we got rid of some mandates, but other than that, it's not been repealed. This is killing us. You can't tell somebody on the left that believes Obama was good and Obamacare was good. You can't even talk to those people because they're not going to understand. They have the capacity and capability of understanding. They choose not to. Not being ugly, they do. They just choose not to. So that's what I'm saying. You don't hear anybody talk about that. Is that a campaign issue for you? Because it hadn't been changed. And I know if you talk to people out there, they're still concerned about this.
And I'm obviously it's a priority for me. I'm more interested in empowering the private sector. You were talking about the private sector earlier this in the show. You know, we don't need to forget about the private sector on the federal side as well. You know, throw down the borders. I don't know I don't know what the exact answer is, but I know this: we can't continue to do the same thing. I am much more comfortable with empowering the private sector to come up with an answer to drive prices down as opposed to anybody in the government.
Oh, it's no doubt. Well, they're not going to do it in government. You see that in state, local, and anything. All right, just got about a minute left. Anything you want to tell the voters? And we'll bring you back, and we'll talk about this often.
No, look, here's the deal. I have, again, nothing against Clay Higgins. I really don't. I disagree with his vote on fiscal matters. It's not what you say. Don't tell me you're a conservative. It's what you do. You have to be responsible. I disagree with voting to increase our flood insurance premiums. I disagree with having a representative that lives outside the district. I care about this district. I love this district. This is my home. Every piece of legislation that I will vote on will have a direct impact on my life, on my children's life, on my family's life, and I do believe in our future. I ask everybody to go to our website at votejosh2018.com or check us out on Facebook at Josh Guillory Congress. And Moon, I appreciate your time today.
Josh, good luck. God bless. Appreciate it. All right, we got to get out of here. Take a quick break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, your calls are welcome. Some more dealing with the legislature. Of course, I think 6 o'clock today, Brandon, they shut it down. So by then, the Senate will win their budget again. And another year, we'll be talking about the same thing. Maybe not next year. It'll be election year. They don't want to talk about it. So the press will look the other way. The Revenue Estimating Conference will estimate tons of money next year. Watch, just so they don't have to go through this. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back.